Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones, and boy, do we have a really, really fantastic show for us tonight. My gosh, we have Adolf in the chat. I mean, not in the chat, in the studio tonight. I was going to say give a big shout out to everybody in the chat tonight. And thank you guys for being here. It is the 4th of July. Happy Independence Day, everybody. Thank you so much for spending your evening and your afternoon with the Cryptid Huntress and Adolf on this remote viewing show. I think my entire family's out at the lake right now. But I thought, we got to do a show. Okay, we got to do a show. This was a day that Adolf was off work, and I wanted to get this remote viewing data and his story out because this is really interesting, y'all. And so thank you guys so much. I hope y'all are having a wonderful holiday. It's also Adolf's wedding anniversary as well with his wife. So we're going to give him a big congratulations when I pull him up in just a minute. So you guys, if you'd like to follow along with all of my shows and everything that I got going on, please go to my website. That's thecryptidhuntress.com. I do have some events coming up in about a week and a half. I'm going to be over at the Full Disclosure Now conference. That is in St. Pete Beach, Florida. And we'll see if I can find the, hold on, I can find the flyer for it. Here we go. I'm going to be here along with, there's like 40 speakers, y'all. It's a lot of people. And I know some of you in the chat will be there. And I'm really looking forward to meeting everybody at this event. It's going to be huge. Okay. A lot of secret space program speakers. Other remote viewers will be there as well. I'm not going to be the only one. Okay. I might be the only cryptid person there, which is kind of cool. But yeah, a lot of very interesting people, a lot of ET experiencers, ufologists, or I guess that's how you say that. And just interesting people. It's going to be fun. All right, y'all. So please come see me there if you can. I got some other events coming up too, but I don't want to waste any time tonight because we got a fantastic show. Of course, if you'd like to follow along with my remote viewing data, I do have that posted on my Patreon tonight. So shout out to all my Patreon members. Go to patreon.com/thecryptidhuntress and become a member there. That is a great way to support my channel and to support all the work that I do over here, bringing y'all all the cool info and remote viewing data. So let's see. Oh, and if you want to become a channel member as well, I'm going to be putting a video up either tonight or tomorrow for my channel members. I hadn't done that in a week or so. So I've been super busy. Y'all know I just got back from a little Dogman hunt out in Alabama, and we had a fantastic time out there. It was hot. It was humid. I'm glad to be in some AC right now. And we had some really cool activity. I did an update yesterday on a glitch in the matrix. So you guys go check that out with Drewski of Cryptid Warfare podcast. I went with him and his operators out to the woods. All right. Well, speaking of Dogman, I have Adolph Santistevan. I promised I was going to get your name right, Adolf. Okay. And you guys might recognize Adolf from, there's a documentary that came out a few years ago called 10-11-02. And Adolf is featured in that documentary. He and his friends took a camping trip into the Sierra Mountains. All right. Now, y'all know Sierra Mountains are pretty famous for the Sierra sounds that Ron Moorhead picked up with the Bigfoots talking to each other. But they were out there and had a pretty dicey weekend, let's just say, and were left not knowing exactly what had happened to them, but it involved potential alien abductions, blinking lights in the sky, and even a handprint on his truck that looked very extraterrestrial, let's just say. Now, you guys can find that in the documentary. I will be putting that link, or if somebody else wants to do that, one of my moderators, we'll put that link in the chat tonight. It is in the description box below. You guys need to go check that out, most definitely. Okay. But I was tasked with 2 different targets of what happened to them over that weekend, those 2 nights, and we've got the data tonight. On the weekend of October 11th, 2002, 3 friends met at a remote location in the Sierra Mountains for a relaxing camping trip, which turned into 2 nights of high strangeness that would traumatize them for a while. From bright blinking lights in the sky and humanoids hiding in the woods to missing time and memories of being examined by extraterrestrials, None of the men could understand exactly what happened to them that fateful weekend. Two of those men, Adolph Santistevan and Ken Mathis, took lie detector tests over the events, and a documentary film was made exploring their experiences titled 10/11/02. Like I said, I'm going to post that in the chat tonight, or if my moderators would like to do that, please do. It's in the description box below. Please help me welcome to the show someone that I've been trying to get on the show for a while and wanting to talk with, my buddy Adolf. Hey, Adolf.
Hello.
Hey, thank you for being here tonight.
That's cool. Yeah,
It's cool. And happy anniversary. Happy anniversary to you and your wife as well.
Yeah, it's our 8th year. So, yeah,
That's
it's all
wonderful.
good.
8's a good number. That's a solid number. It's the infinity sign. Okay, so it's wonderful. And you got a whole nation over here shooting off fireworks in your honor tonight. Everybody's celebrating, right?
As long as there's no forest fires.
I know. Everybody be careful. Shoot fireworks responsibly tonight, everyone. Everybody needs their fingers tomorrow, okay? And no forest fires. So, but speaking of forest, you have a very interesting and almost pretty terrifying encounter that happened to you. And not only do I want to talk to you about your encounter in the Sierra Mountains that was featured on the documentary, I want to talk to you about your Dogman experiences too, and your cryptid experiences tonight. Because I see you in the chat. We've had conversations in our chats before, and you have a lot of cryptid experiences, don't you?
Yeah, I sure do. A whole lot of things happen over the years. Sometimes people are scared to put me up in the hills because they don't know what to expect.
Well, do you think that if people were to go with you, they'd have more of a chance of having an encounter with a cryptid?
Yeah, or we'll be seeing something that you rarely see. I go up to the mountains on instincts. I really don't plan it too much. Mm-hmm. And there's always a reason why I have to go up there, because there's something I got to see or find.
Oh yeah. Well, you were not expecting to have the experience that you had back in what year was that? It was in 2002. You went camping, but I remember hearing in the documentary that you had a bad feeling about going that weekend, and you were hesitant to even go, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to go whatsoever. I mean, I was fighting it. I did not want to go. I always want to go camping. And I was telling Kenneth, he's the one that passed away already. So it's only me and Ken that's left. But only reason I went was to face our fears. And that's one of the things you wrote down was fear. And that's the reason I went, just to see what happened. And I really, really didn't want to go whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Well, your gut was telling you with everything it could, don't go. But right. you went because you were there to meet your two friends, and you figured you're gonna have a good time anyways, right?
Yeah. But I was expecting, which something did come up, so.
It did. Can you tell the audience kind of an overview of what happened that weekend?
I'll say a very short version of it. Okay, we got there. Ken was waiting for us, and we drove up. I had my radio cranked up, and he was all happy. He walked down by the road. It's like, finally, we're here. And, he was hearing all kinds of weird stuff. And so we got out, unpacked and everything. And it was almost dark time because I didn't leave. I left work at 12:30. So it's about a 3.5 hour drive. And it's in October, so it's the days are short. And we only drank a couple beers. Ken wasn't feeling good, so he went to his tent. Me and Kenneth went out on the road, which is only a few yards away, and we seen this light on the other side of the canyon, on top of the peak by one of the glaciers that used to be there. Now it's almost gone. And we started noticing this light, and we're looking at it, pointing at it, and it started coming closer. And then so I ran to my car, got my big flashlight. I started flashing at it 3 times. And as a joke, I flash it 3 times and I point my flashlight at my friend's tent. Like, don't look at me, look at him.
Diverting.
Yeah. And I don't know what it was. At first I thought it was a helicopter, but there was no noise, no other lights, just a bright white light. And it started coming toward us. And it's still about a half mile away. And then it shot a beam on the ground. And then me and Kenneth just looked at it like, oh shit, what is it? Then it went behind a big dome. And we lost track of it. So we got out of the road, went back to the campsite, and then we were pretty much calling it a night because it was so cold. And Ken was already crashed out. So during the night, we're hearing weird sounds, metallic sounds, and you couldn't tell where it was coming from. And also, like if you're wearing a raincoat and you rub your arms together, that switching sound, that's a sound that we're hearing, but it was at different directions. You couldn't really figure out where it was coming from. So your head was spinning around trying to figure out what it was. And there was sort of like voices at the end, sort of like murmurs, but you couldn't figure out what it was. And yeah, the whole night was a roller coaster. You'll crash out for no reason, then all of a sudden you're wide awake, up and down. And it happened to all 3 of us, which we didn't know at that time. And then I seen a fire, which I thought it was a fire, but it was a light behind Ken's tent. And his tent was here. The light was getting closer to him. And as it got closer, I could see Ken sitting on a chair with a big knife. And then I could see a little alien thing walking behind the tent. As it's getting closer, you could see the outlining of a body behind Ken. And all of a sudden, I'm asleep. Why would I fall asleep at that time? It just didn't make sense. And then other time, Ken was telling to Kenneth, what are you doing outside walking? And then Kenneth goes, what do you mean? He goes, it's cold outside. Why are you walking around? He goes, it's not me. It's in my tent. I'm in my tent. So all of a sudden that stopped. And then during the night, the fire was going low. Kenneth, he likes playing with fire. So he gets out of his tent, picked up a log. At mid-swing, he stopped. And he's only like 5 feet away from me. I'm inside my 4Runner. My windows are tinted, so he can't see me. Then all of a sudden he said, oh, that's what you do. You hide in the shadows. I'm looking at him like, why would anybody say that? I'm looking at him. He walked right by my vehicle, and I'm looking at him, following him where he's going. All of a sudden, I'm asleep. And then next morning, I hear a zipper open up. I open up the door, and I go, Kenneth. I go, where did you go last night? When he said, oh, that's what you do. You hide in the shadows. He goes, I don't know. I seen something small hide behind it, and I just woke up. I go, you don't remember going back to the tent? He goes, no. So the whole night was a roller coaster ride. And I woke up during the night about 75 feet away from my vehicle, standing up, I don't remember walking there. And I'm barefooted. And as I took a step toward my vehicle, because I stood there for a second trying to figure out how I got here, and every step was like, ow, 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 because the dust underneath the trees. It was hurting my feet. So why didn't I feel it on the way there? So yeah, the whole night was it was crazy. Uh, yeah, we're so happy to see the sun the next morning. I mean, I could have hugged the sun. I mean, it was, we were so happy. We ended,
I know that feeling.
yeah, we only end up still staying 2 nights. Forget the third one. Next morning, Kenneth got up and I opened up the door and we both said, what the hell happened last night? He goes, I'm out of here. And Kenneth, he used to be a state auditor, and everything's packed perfect in boxes, all organized. Not this time. He threw everything in the back, put a tarp over it. He was gone. And so me and Kenneth stayed there longer. So I told Kenneth, we're going. We're not staying one more night. So I was going to check the fluids on the vehicle. And ended up, I found 2 handprints that were weird and had sticky residue on it. And I thought Kenneth was playing a game. So I had him put his hand, which it didn't match up. Then I had him draw it with his fingers, and it ended up, the only thing he was doing is moving the dust to the side of his fingerprint. This thing, you could tell it was straight down, the handprint. And I tried taking out the residue of the hand for several weeks. I even used rubbing compound, a buffer. I mean, I tried several times trying to get that handprint out. It looks like it's gone, but once the car gets dusty, the handprint's back. And I wish I would have saved that hood. But I wasn't thinking at the time. I just wanted that handprint out of there. Because every time I see it, I got weird feelings.
Okay. You know what? I took a screenshot of that handprint and I forgot to upload it. I forgot. Okay, so everybody, if you want to see the handprint, you gotta watch the documentary. Okay. Now describing the handprint, it looks like the fact that it was greasy. Okay.
Yeah.
A greasy handprint indicates usually Bigfoot. A lot of times. Okay. Bigfoots have they have an oil on their hands, in their skin, and so. But the handprint looks more ET, like extraterrestrial. It has long fingers and a really odd-looking thumb, right?
Yeah, the thumb starts from here and it whips around. And as you look at it, the actual thumb, the end of the tip, is right here. So this part right here is really long. And if you look at the photograph, I actually think there was another index. But it's way over here because there's one little dot on the hood. So I think there's another finger that came out that wasn't touching the hood, but I'm not 100% sure, but I think there was another index.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is a very odd print. And the fact that you couldn't even buff it out all the way, it kept showing back up. It's just odd, almost like it's radioactive, or it's either radioactive or greasy. Super greasy.
You could put your finger over it and you could feel it like sandpaper when you go over. Even after I buffed it, even though it looked clean, it was still, the residue, the texture was still there.
Wow. Well, I saw the picture on the documentary. I'm so sorry, y'all. I had a screenshot of it and I forgot to upload it. It's a fantastic print. Fantastic.
What I did also, I got the photograph and I traced it with tracing paper. Then I put the tracing paper over styrofoam. So I cut the styrofoam, then I filled it up with clay. Then I baked it in the oven. So I actually got a clay handprint of the photo. And then what I did, I used a magnifying glass to do the lines on the hand as close as possible. But the outer part's all the same, just the inner part is the only part I used a little small Dremel to make lines of the hands.
So did it have dermal ridges in it? You could see the actual lines like a handprint.
Yeah, but they're going up and down.
Oh, different. Okay, Digger Dog in the chat has seen the documentary, or has seen the print that was on your vehicle, and says that was definitely not a Bigfoot print. And I agree, but by looking at it, it looks more extraterrestrial, like long fingers, and the thumb is what really gives it away. There's something very different about it. It does not look like a Bigfoot handprint.
No, it don't. And plus the wrist is so small, this portion of it. So, but the hand's big, but it doesn't look like a Bigfoot. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Something happened. I don't know. I knew that.
Something happened.
Try to find out more information.
Well, I got some good data for you on this, but before we get to the data, you at some point you took a lie detector test, right? Yeah. You and Ken both took lie detector tests, and how did that come about, and what were the results?
Well, it was our idea to do that because otherwise it would just been a story, and we made the movie not to make money, but to get the story out. So it'd be easier for other people to say their story. To remember, this is back 10/11/02. Back then, the government didn't say that there's something out there, and everything was still all enclosed. So we want to break the eggshell kind of and make it easier for other people to talk about it. And lie detector test was our idea, me and Ken's. And we ended up paying $500 each to get that done in San Jose.
Wow. Well, you mean business with that. And in addition to that, the picture that you took, you guys had some film and you took pictures of the prints on your truck, and you guys went and put all that film in a safety deposit box.
Yeah, actually, I seen Ken this last weekend in Virginia City, and we're going to end up taking it out and storing it somewhere else.
That's smart. When my team got some very important footage of a portal incident, Tim, one of the guys who was filmed going into the portal, he took that film and put it in the back of his motorcycle in a lockbox and drove it home that night, 3 hours away, to go put it in a safety deposit box himself, to go lock it, because he knew that it was so important. Stuff like that is so important. And when you're dealing with things that involve extraterrestrials, potentially, weird things happen. Things get erased. Things disappear.
Matter of fact, before I got on here on your show, my cell phone was doing all kinds of weird stuff.
That happens.
Yeah, it was doing weird stuff.
Yeah, mine does weird stuff all the time too. But yeah, it does that whenever we're talking about ETs. And I wanted to address something because you had mentioned about you kept falling asleep. Okay, I have had two times where I've actually had up close encounters with extraterrestrials, and I was put to sleep both times, where I was awake. I was trying to stay awake, but they kept putting me to sleep. And I remember I kept trying to wake up when they would go back to sleep. And I have moments like that where I've had another incident in the field where I remember falling asleep. I have a recording of it. I have a recording where we're out in the field doing Bigfoot research. We have a UFO flying over us. And I got really quiet, and it sounded like bottle rockets were shooting off all around us. We remote viewed it, and I had been put to sleep while all this stuff was happening. And then I woke back up, and it's almost like you're missing time.
Yeah,
you're missing time like it never happened.
yeah. I mean, I couldn't understand why I fell asleep at a certain time. Like, I wanted to see what Kenneth was looking at, something exciting. Then all of a sudden I fell asleep, and I don't even know why. I mean, I was just knocked out. And,
Yeah.
it
It's what
was,
the ETs do. That's what the ETs do.
yeah, it was weird. Yeah, 10/11/02. I mean, I had friends with me, but what actually scared me more was the first part of the movie of Hensley. That right there, I need to find out what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one of
Okay.
these, you could remote that.
I'd love to. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down to do remote viewing targets for this kind of thing. We need to start exploring what happens when we're missing time. I
Yeah.
have done several cases of missing time where I've remote viewed cases where people had missing, and most of the time it did involve extraterrestrials. Okay, most of the time, and yours is no different, by the way. Yours is no different. I did two separate targets here. Okay,
Okay.
and let's just go ahead and get into it because I have a lot of data here. And the first target was actually the event, everything that happened that night to you guys. It's the events that took place on the night of October 11th, 2002 at it was Courtright Reservoir, correct?
Correct.
Courtright. Okay, let's show it on a map to the audience. I do have, and yes, Lisa, I did remote view it. Okay, so this is it's a big lake, big reservoir in Fresno County, California. What is the history of this place? Does it have a rich history?
No, it was mainly made for hydroelectricity. There's a dam below it or lake below it. That's called Wishon. So what they do, they let water out of Courtright, then it's pumped back up during the night. So the water elevation goes up and down. But there's good fishing at the lake. It's all granite all the way around. And there's been Bigfoot sightings there by a forest ranger I talked to. He has a 5-minute video of a Bigfoot on the north side of the dam up on top of the dome. But he won't make it public because he's still working.
Well, of course not. He's got to get his pension. Okay.
Yeah, he won't. He asked me if I want to go see it, but I never made it to his office yet. And I'm not going to say what office. So
you better go see it at some point. I want to get a report.
Yeah, he was super serious when he was telling me about it.
Oh, I bet. Well, this is in the Sierra Mountains, and in the Sierra Mountains range, the Sierra Nevada region here. This is, I was telling the audience when we first started tonight, this is where Ronald Moorhead got these Sierra Sound recordings of the Bigfoots talking to each other. So this area has to be rich in Bigfoot activity. Obviously, if the park ranger is experiencing them. Lot of high strangeness out there, and I'm assuming they have UFO sightings as well and UFO activity out there.
Yeah, they did quite a bit at Courtright and at Wishon. UFOs sightings, especially on the south side of Courtright, on top of a mountain. We seen one light one time and we couldn't explain it. That was on top of the mountain at the peak. And after a while, it just disappeared.
Yeah. Okay. Whoa, very interesting. Hey, Drewski. Drewski's in the chat tonight. Yeah. Missing time is part of the abduction phenomenon. Yes, absolutely. I have had several cases of missing time myself, in the field and at home. Okay, and that's just the way it is. Especially when you're doing when you're out there putting yourself in predicaments where there's a lot of high strangeness. And Drewski, who was just on the right here, he and I were in the woods in Alabama doing a Dogman hunt this week, and we had a lot of high strangeness. Had Bigfoot activity actually when we were out there, and found a print, one Bigfoot print out there, and all sorts of high strangeness going on. But it all kind of clumps together a lot of times when you have one bit of activity. And before I get into the data, we're going to get into the data, and we're going to see that there's a possible extraterrestrial and Bigfoot connection. And my team has experienced that out in the woods when we're Bigfooting. Okay, so let's get into the data. All right, so right off of the bat, when I got into this target, I kept hearing targeted, like someone or something was being targeted. I was seeing something that was unnatural, that was out of place. I was actually feeling as though, like, I heard experiment and samples too. Experiment and samples, a test subject, but I was picking up on data that involved fire in the sky. That movie with Travis Walton in it. Is there a connection there?
Yeah, let me go back a little bit. The strangeness, I think it was that light that we seen, because it wasn't natural. It was coming toward us. That wasn't normal. So I think that's where that comes up. Fire in the sky. One of the guys that was on the vehicle in the truck, Steve Pierce. I know him personally. I met him. A real down to earth guy. Right now he's in Four Corners area, checking out cemeteries. He likes looking at old. He found Doc Holliday, somewhere else, but he went back over there. But yeah, he likes looking at cemeteries, looking at his history. But yeah, Steve was on that truck as Travis got zapped by the light. The movie Fire in the Sky, he said that's Hollywood. They didn't show exactly what happened. And basically, that's what he wanted to tell me, that a lot of it was Hollywood. But he did go missing, and there was a light.
Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, that's really cool. There's a connection here, though. Like, you actually know one of the guys that was a part of the Travis Walton incident. Okay, and that's the name of that movie. All right. Okay. Well, let's keep going. Okay, because I picked up on target data. Like, something was a target. Well, then as I got more into the target, I started picking up that you were the target.
Maybe that's the way to go.
Yeah. Exactly. I was picking up that you were the target, and I picked up that something had been happening to you your entire life. And it is actually connected to your ancient bloodline. An ancient bloodline. And I was picking up on data that involves the star people. Okay. So star people was in my data as well. So I even was picking up on a hybridization type of a program as well. Okay, now would that make sense to you?
Yeah, if you go back into the movie, the very first part of it, my ex-girlfriend back then, she was pregnant, and after the incident, she wasn't, and that wasn't on the movie. We cut that out. So she had a big argument with the doctor, saying that she had an abortion. She didn't have abortion. Just that she didn't have nothing in her after what happened to us at Hensley.
I am so sorry to hear that. You know, that is something that I worried about even when I was pregnant with my son. I did not go into the woods anymore because I knew that we were dealing with extraterrestrials out there. And I actually quit doing camping trips while I was pregnant because I was worried that something like that would happen to me. Yeah, so I'm so sorry that happened. Well, I was picking up on data about children, and I heard has children in the program. Is what I heard.
Yeah, I
Okay,
probably
has
do.
children in the program. Okay. Now, I started. I was feeling a sense of loss and sadness. And I was getting very emotional. Okay, during this target. I also drew like a squiggly line. It looked like a portal. And I started picking up on and I wrote down tangible, visible, a tangible, visible portal. So when I'm analyzing this data, I feel like there may be a portal or a vortex there that you can actually see sometimes. Have you encountered that?
Okay, after that trip, well, when we got there, there's a big boulder right next to the driveway, kind of. So I climbed up that, and I got a weird feeling on there. It's not on the movie. And I got down, and then after that event, every time I go up there, I make a alien man with rocks on a slab of cement. And as I was looking at your data, I think one of the lines go right over where I have my alien rock man that I made on a slab of cement. And I got other people going up there and fix my alien man, rock man. Every time they go up there, they go around and fix my alien guy. But I think that's where the portal's at, because I get a weird feeling in that area. Yeah, I don't know how much detail you want to go on that squirrely thing that we talked about.
Yeah, well, it just what I drew. Well, I'll show the audience what I drew. It just looks like a squiggly, like a portal. You know what you would think a portal would look like just a squiggly line like that. So, but you could relate to that when you saw it.
Yeah, when I want to, and when I let myself, I could actually remote view. And this is the first time I'm making it public. Normally I keep it to myself. But yeah, that's like a tool for me, because a lot of my paintings that I got portals. And I give the paintings away to friends. And yeah, what you do, you look at it through here, right above the third eye. The third eye, you could pinpoint where you want to see or do. But when you aim a little higher above the third eye, you can actually go through that vortex or portal. And as you're going, you see everything going really, really super fast. And once you see something you want to stop, you kind of like look at it and just wave at it and you'll stop. And you could visit that place, whatever time and distance you want, and then you let go of it, then you can go somewhere else. But I try to control it, because it just overwhelms you. So I only open it up when I want to. Otherwise, it's too much information.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. So that's part of remote viewing, is that the information starts flooding in so quickly. When we get into remote viewing mode, we have to slow it down. Okay, and so I'm going to show you how I slow it down, and it's by drawing what we call ideograms. Okay, so when I go into a target and I write down the numbers for the coordinates, I pull my hand down the page and I start automatic writing.
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah, we turn into something called ideograms. Okay, now the ideograms are those circles right there, and those squiggly lines. Now my target, my first target that I did is on the left. Your drawing is on the right. Okay, and when I say that we slow it down, when I draw the ideograms, I have to draw like at the bottom. I have to write out what those ideograms are, and that's actually slowing my mind down a little bit to let the information flow in. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And so that's the purpose of drawing those squiggly lines. But these squiggly lines just happen to line up with something that you recognize. Okay, and it looks identical to this map that you drew.
Yeah, it matched up pretty good.
It's identical. What is that map that you drew?
That's Cartwright. To the right, that flat section, where right out of that right angle is actually the dam. Okay, as you follow that line going to your left, that's the road that goes on the edge of the dome, the granite dome. Then it makes a quick left, and those two round things are our vehicles at the campsite. And then as you go, the end of the road is where the circles are at. And then I was looking at yours. I kept looking at it. There's something I'm missing. Ended up that straight black line that's kind of thick, and there's a little white area. And I go, wait a minute. So I kept looking at it. All of a sudden, I started seeing pictures of a Bigfoot or an alien. And there's a little line to it going to that upside down V. Looks like there's like a rope and something's pulling it. And that's kind of like what you had on your vision that you wrote down. So like it's being pulled.
Well, I thought it was pretty fantastic that you were relating to my actual ideograms as being a map. Okay, and I thought, man, we need to start doing some remote viewing targets together, Adolf. We need to. You're going to be my new remote viewing partner, okay? Because that's pretty fantastic.
Because I knew there had to be something. Because I knew that was automatic writing, and it's telling you to do something, even though we may not understand it at the time. But a lot of times my drawings that I do here and there, I don't understand it till later. It could be a week, month, or a year later, all of a sudden, boom. Oh, okay, I get it now. And that's what happened with yours. I kept looking at it. There's something I'm missing. And that's what it is.
Wow. Well, that's wonderful.
So
it all I knew that it would all make sense to you. Okay, it would all make sense to you with the data. We have a question before I continue with the data. Candy, hey Candy, she'd like to know: does Adolf know if you have Rh negative blood?
No, I got O.
Okay, that was an See, I don't usually tell people what my blood type is, but I know a lot of people. I'm not Rh negative, but I know a lot of people who are, and that's there's something about the blood, okay, about the blood, and there was data about your bloodline in the data about whatever happened to you happened because of your bloodline, okay. But now bloodlines don't have to be physical blood and DNA. It could be like a spiritual bloodline too. Okay.
You're talking about star people. Ended up, I'm part Navajo, and they believe in the stars, the star people. So maybe that's where you got that from, or part of it.
It could be, but I did have star people in the data. Sure. Okay. All right. Well, let's keep going because I got a lot more data. Okay. And okay. So I picked up. I heard you are not of this world. Is what I heard. So speaking of star people, we have a lot of people on Earth right now. They say that are star seeds from all over the universe that are here to help raise the vibration of the planet. Okay. And I was kind of getting that vibe when I was analyzing the data. Okay. So, but I heard something about a major, huge event was this target involved like a major, huge event, whatever it was. Somebody was psychically switched on, but it had to do with the frequencies and the vibrations of whoever I was remote viewing, which is you. I also heard upgrades, alpha, omega, and a turning point. Okay, so do you have any connections to alpha and omega?
Well, that's beginning and end. But my nickname, some of my friends call me AD, after death. Short for Adolf. AD.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, very cool. Very cool. Well, I was picking up on that. I also started picking up on interdimensional data as well. Something that was phasing in and phasing out. Interdimensional. I heard something that was accessing portals, easy access. I was hearing something about the consciousness, or it had to do with your consciousness, and maybe the phasing in and phasing out was you guys going to sleep and waking back up. Okay,
Yep.
that could be what the phasing in and out is you guys kept coming in and out of consciousness.
Exactly. But I think also it's probably talking about me, because remember I was saying that I turn it off so I won't be getting too much information.
Yes.
So I turn it on as needed. So I think that's where the control part is on that part. But you're right, every one of us was asleep, awake, sleep, awake. During that whole time, it was exhausting. And we didn't know what the hell was going on.
Wow. Okay, so that would make sense. And the phasing in and phasing out, and then consciousness was right underneath that. It was in a line. So phasing in, that means that you guys were going in and out. So perfect. Okay, so I was on target with that.
Yeah.
And then I heard that you were here to help, or y'all, maybe it's all of you, because this was a target for like all of y'all pretty much. I guess it was whatever happened. And I heard you are here to help humanity shift. Okay. And then I heard, don't quit, we need you. Okay, don't quit, and thank you.
It's funny you said that, because I was thinking of just turning off everything. And I have been little by little. And then you're telling me don't turn it off,
Yeah.
But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, don't turn it off. Don't turn it off. You're being encouraged not to. And I also wrote down overwhelmed. Okay, so there's more data. Okay, there's more data. Yeah, I sent you the data. I was also feeling like there was an overwhelm. You're overwhelmed. This event overwhelmed all three of you. Okay, yeah. But it happened for a purpose. Okay, is what I was picking up in this data. Whatever happened for a purpose. It was to give you upgrades, and it was to help shift not only you but the consciousness of a lot of people. Okay, so that was that first target in a nutshell. Okay, and so it seemed as though it was kind of sad and it was scary. There was a lot going on there, but I think that this had been happening to you your whole life.
Yeah, it has been big time since I was a little kid. I remember looking at cartoons and them coming through the broken window that I broke with a golf ball by accident. It was a perfect circle. And they used to crawl through there and lay next to me on a bed that comes out of a sofa, a fold out. And we used to look at cartoons together. They're little things. They're really, really small. And I was really small. And it was sort of like comforting that I had friends next to me, because I was home alone. I like a movie. But they were there to comfort me. And when I laughed at the cartoons, they were both laughing also.
Well, they could have been your cousins or something. Who knows? Because it seems as though you're not from here. You're from the stars, or of the stars, is what I was picking up on. Okay, so you're just like, we're just here visiting. Okay, and I feel like you're here visiting. You're here to help whatever's going on right now. Okay, and so that's the data that I got.
Hey, I've seen that comment, blood type 420. I haven't done 420 since graduation night, 1980.
Oh my gosh, that was brown dwarf. I think that was brown dwarf. I think brown dwarf's blood type is 420. That's what he was saying.
No, I don't do.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I bet your blood type is brown. That's awesome. Okay, so then I did another target. Okay, so the second target was actually, okay, there was something else that happened out there, and you saw something behind it, or Kenneth saw something behind a stump. Now, I don't think this was in the documentary. Can you tell the audience what the second target was?
Okay, there's a lot of parts that were missing out of the movie only because of time. During the night, Kenneth was pretty much in charge of leaving the fire on. So I was sleeping in the back of my 4Runner. My windows were tinted. I heard a zipper open up. It's so quiet, you could hear everything. He got out of his tent, grabbed a log, and he was going to toss it in the fire as he started swinging, and he stopped at mid-swing. And he's at the corner of my 4Runner. He's only about 5 feet away, right around my vehicle. And then he stops, and then all of a sudden he says, "Oh, that's what you do. You hide in the shadows." I'm looking at him like, why in the hell are you saying that? And then he starts walking. He drops the log, not in the fire, he just drops it. Starts walking next to my vehicle, and right where he hits the passenger's door, I knocked out. And I wanted to see what he was going to look at. But I ended up knocking out. And the next morning, I heard a zipper. I opened up the door. It was Kenneth. And I looked at him. I go, "Kenneth," I go, "where did you go last night? Or what did you see when you said, 'Oh, that's what you do. You hide in the shadows'?" He goes, "I seen something small hide behind the tree." I go, "What was it?" He goes, "I don't know. I just woke up." So both of us got chills on that because it was all roller coaster ride. You're asleep, you're awake. You're asleep, you're awake. And the same thing was happening to Ken during the whole night. What's good about the movie? Kenneth already passed away by the time we did this, but Ken did his story, I did mine, and we never discussed what we talked about while being interviewed or filmed. And we always did that separate. And that was my idea. And then when they put the movie together, it all matched up. So it matched up pretty good. So he has stuff that happened to him more so at his house.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, listen, that is a fantastic documentary, Adolf. I was so impressed watching that. I thought, everybody needs to see this documentary. Everybody does. It's important.
Part where you see the lava part ended up, that's there for a purpose. I didn't like it. I wanted to take that out, but ended up, if it made it to television, that's where you cut it out for commercials. So it won't cut into the movie. So that part was made to be cut out if we pushed that part. We never did. We just wanted to make the movie. We didn't make it for money. Yeah, we didn't.
You should. It's fantastic. It's you're on the edge of your seat watching this, and the way that it's the cinematography and just the way that you cut it from like what happened that day and then go back to 1983 when you had your other, because you had other experiences. Okay. And then it goes back to 2002. I loved it. Okay. I absolutely loved it. Before I go on with my data here, Sovereign Cosmic Wildman, what's up? He said, can ask Adolf about the wild time loop that he had at a bridge where you were stuck in a time loop for a while.
That happened.
1983?
That happened at Hensley Lake. It's on the movie. God, it was so weird. We started at the beginning of the movie or the bridge, and me and my girlfriend were talking because we'd already been chased by a light earlier, and I thought I lost it. And we went across the bridge, and as soon as we started passing this bridge, we got to the end, and then all of a sudden we're back at the beginning of the bridge again. And then my girlfriend took 3 times to finish a sentence. As many times as we went across, then we just passed this bridge. It took her 3 times to finish that sentence. We kept going from the beginning to the end, beginning and the end. And then finally, I looked at my speed monitor. It's going as far as it could. But I looked to the side of the window, and it's going slow motion. It was like we're in a time warp. And then all of a sudden, it felt like we're driving through jello, a gel substance. But as soon as I broke that barrier, there was a thing. He had his arms out like this, and I hit it with my car on the passenger side headlight. It didn't break the headlight, but it broke the signal light down below. It messed up my grill. My girlfriend screaming. I slammed on the brakes, and took me a while to stop. I backed up. I got out of the car, and I could see this thing wobbling toward a light that was about 100 yards away from the bridge that I didn't see at first. But it was wobbling, and I hit that sucker. It didn't leave no tissue on the car. And she was screaming, yelling. She was from New York, so they got a good voice. And anyway, she's screaming and everything, and got back in the car. And this road's straight, but the road is hilly, but in a straight line. So I seen a light coming toward us, probably a couple miles away. And I told my girlfriend, once we pass this vehicle, we know there's other humans around. I don't know why I said that, but I told her that. Only thing wrong, we never passed. Ended up that light that was chasing us, it was in front of us. It was going like this. It was going the same direction we were. So that's the reason I only seen it as we're going like this, because I seen it at the when I was on top of the hill. Ended up it was skimming the top of the hills. So only time I got to see it is when I'm on top. So we did for about a couple miles or a mile and a half before we got to Highway 41. Then it went across the field and then went straight up. We lost it. But yeah, that Hensley scared me more than Courtright, big time.
Well, big time. The little humanoid that you hit. Now, did it survive, or did you see it laid out, or what happened to it?
No, it just sort of like bounced. And then by the time I hit it, it bounced. I kept going because I couldn't stop at that second. So by the time I stopped and came back, it already went over the fence and going toward that light. So it was already good 75 feet away from us, seeing the back end of it.
Oh my gosh. We've got Javier in the chat. Hey, Javier. You know what? Javier's the one that sent me your documentaries and stuff. So I love it. Thank you so much, Javier, with Cryptid 559. He said, Adolf took me to that location where the time loop happened. Now down the street is a rock quarry.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's interesting. Because we have a lot of high strangeness happens around granite and quartz in rock quarries for some reason. I don't know why that is, other than it being a conductor, but that's interesting. Okay. Well, all right, let's get to the second target. Okay, let's get the second target. So what did Kenneth see behind this stump? Okay, now with this data for this target, I had two separate types of beings were in the environment when I was remote viewing this. Okay, the first being or creature that I saw that was part of the data was a juvenile Bigfoot. Okay, that was actually in my data. And then as I went further into the target, I picked up on several extraterrestrials. Now, you'd mentioned saying earlier that you thought there could have been a Bigfoot or Sasquatch there. What are the odds of whatever this was that he was talking to or referring to being a Bigfoot?
Well, we were hearing weird sounds during that whole time. And for Kenneth to see, he did say he's seen something small. So, it could have been a Bigfoot. And as we were talking earlier, talking about Bigfoots having oily handprints. But only wrong, the handprint don't match up. But maybe they're working together.
Yeah.
I mean, for you to pick that up.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, what's really interesting is that the data included something that was tied up, locked up, and locked down. Okay. So when we're talking about this earlier, when we were messaging back and forth, I was wondering, you know, my team has actually encountered ETs out in the woods that were working with Sasquatch, and they were dealing with something that dealt with a stump, like a tree stump, but it had some kind of electrical box in it, some kind of AI, a box full of AI, and it had like buttons on it, and the Sasquatch were having to go and hit a button so that, and then they could go eat. Okay, they had something they had to do for the ETs. They'd hit a button and then they'd be able to go eat. Okay, that was something that we actually ended up remote viewing this incident at some point. Yeah, so they were working together. So I was wondering, I mean, could Bigfoots be workers for the ETs? And maybe that's why it was in the environment. Because I got both types of beings. I got a Sasquatch and I got a bunch of ETs in the environment during this target. So
yeah, we found our ice chest moved around, but nothing was taken out of it. If it was a bear, it would have just grabbed stuff, chew on stuff, but nothing was taken. But the lid was opened up. Some items on the table were moved, but nothing was thrown down or anything like that. But you could see that stuff was moved. And we tried finding footprints, not so much Bigfoot at that time. We're just trying to figure out what was walking around the car and the tents. But there was so much duff on the ground, you couldn't make out no footprints.
wow. Okay, I just had a thought, because my team, we kind of joke around about this a lot, right? Because when we're out at base camp and everybody's out camping out and we start having massive paranormal or cryptid activity that happens, guess what we do? We all go to bed. Okay, and that's something that has been perplexing since day one. We always joke around about how weird that is. Why don't we stay up and try to communicate with it and get our equipment out and try to see it? Instead, we all just turn in for the night and go to bed. Sometimes we'll go to sleep early. We'll all go to our tents and go to sleep before midnight.
Yeah, well, Ken, he went to bed where the sun was still just barely going down. And we went to bed probably about an hour after he did. And it was still early. And I only drank 2 beers.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but it makes total sense when we start having conversations about it, and we can exchange our stories, because it's not just us that it's happening to. It's you guys. It's all sorts of people. I mean, it's almost hypnotizing. Like, it's almost like it's some kind of mind control, I guess.
Yeah, on top of that dome, on that granite dome on the north side of the dam, me and Javier went up there, and we found a couple of footprints over there up on top that we couldn't figure it out, but they were huge.
Really?
Yeah, just north side of the dam.
Wow. Well, I have some. Oh yeah, I have one. I think this is just the Sierra Mountains. I'm not sure that's exactly where y'all were right there. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So with this target, I was also picking up on. I was seeing cans and stuff. I mean, it was probably your cooler. That's what I was seeing. So I was picking up on aluminum cans.
Yeah.
But I was picking up on something. Wherever I was seeing rocks and bricks and dirt and gravel, solid ground, and something was observing. Okay, so whatever this target was, it was. I wrote down the watchers, and I wrote down observing, watching, curious, balanced, and I was picking up on something that was pacing, like moving from side to side. It kept moving from side to side like this, and so.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, most of that area is duff, But as you're driving into that area, there is gravel and there is granite on the north side where we parked at. So, and that swaying back and forth is probably what Kenneth's seen, that he's seen hiding behind the tree. But yeah, there's gravel and granite. It's rocks, you know, rocks about this big and smaller on the north side of us, which is only 50 feet.
Wow. Okay, well I was right there in it, and I was seeing something that was, like I said, it was moving back and forth, side to side like this, and it was in the shadows, or it was a shadow, because I wrote down shadow. Then I definitely picked up on ET. I wrote down ETs, extraterrestrials, and cryptoterrestrials. Okay, now I don't know about you, Adolf, but I'm not sure these days whether I think ETs come from the sky or they come from inside our Earth, or just portals. I don't know. I did write down cryptoterrestrials, so potentially something that came from inside our Earth.
I think there's different types. Some come through a different dimension. Some are here, that's been here for, thousands, millions of years. And there could be other entities coming from different planets through portals. I think they're just all different types. And the ET that we observe, or I observe on the back of Ken's tent, came in from the south side. And where Kenneth seen that entity hide behind the tree was on the north side of our campsite. So they might have been eating up there. I don't know. I'm just taking a guess, but I know the ETs came in from the south.
Well, there were definitely ETs in this data. They were there in the environment. The ETs and at least one Bigfoot. I picked up on one singular Bigfoot was in this data. Not to say there weren't more, but I picked up on a juvenile Bigfoot.
Yeah, and like that chattering sound we're hearing, and the mechanical sound, it sounded like a CD coming out of a car vehicle, where it goes. Bzzz. We kept hearing that part, and then the rubbing part, and voices in the background, like murmur, but you couldn't figure out what they were saying. It wasn't a language I didn't understand.
Okay, well, you were in the Sierras, and that's where Ron Moorhead, and his buddy actually have those recordings of the Bigfoots talking and doing the Bigfoot chatter.
Yeah, it was.
So maybe it was that.
Could be.
Yeah.
We're not all awake the same time to observe it. Instead of each one of us has a different story, Like what you're saying, everybody goes to sleep.
Yeah, everybody goes to sleep. We just get really tired, and that's part of the reason that the head of my team taught us remote viewing. It was to learn mind control, and it's to control our own minds. But it doesn't always work because we still get tired and we all go to bed early at times when we're out there, and then we end up having a lot of strange activity throughout the night while we're in our cots. And here's another thing: a lot of times we don't even go to bed. We'll all just go to our tents and we'll lay there all night.
Yeah.
And we're all still awake, which is weird.
Like you're waiting for something to happen.
Exactly. But you know what? A lot of times that's when stuff does happen.
Yeah. Ken, he had a really bad headache before he went to the tent. And he couldn't figure out, why.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was some kind of frequency that was being emitted. I did pick up on frequencies and vibrational stuff going on. So maybe that's how they get us to go to sleep, is they hit us with the infrasound.
Yeah, and that whole area is all granite. Big granite domes, trees here and there, a lot of crystal.
Well, it's a perfect location with all the ingredients for high strangeness, is what it was. Now, Okay, so did this data help answer any questions at all, or did it help, or did it make you have more questions?
No, it helped out big time because it's everything you wrote down is pretty much what I felt and seen at the time. But what got me was I didn't know about the Bigfoot, but once you send me your drawing, then I picked it up because I wrote down alien or Bigfoot. And that's the first time I came up with that. And this is before we talked about it.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think it was both. I think they were both there. Now the Bigfoot could have been hiding in the shadows. Okay, it could have been, and it could have just all been ET activity. But there was a Bigfoot there, according to my data. And in my experience and my encounters, I do believe that they're usually combined. There's some kind of a connection. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also got photos of that area. There's orbs on top of the mountain. The same side where we're at.
Yeah. Okay, well, I actually just saw an orb on Monday night when I was out doing some Dogman hunting. I was looking through night vision, and a big orb about the size of a baseball or a softball flew right in front of my face, and it stopped, and then it took a hard right. Okay, and it wasn't a bug, because I was watching bugs all around it, like little bugs. This thing was huge. So that's kind of a constant in the field when we're having any kind of activity. We get a lot of orbs out there. So
A lot of times I think Bigfoots travel that way. I think they could itself into traveling somewhere, sort of like remote viewing, but they do it in a different way where you could actually see them do it.
yeah. Well, one of the last times I had a Bigfoot experience, I actually saw a brown orb or orange orb shoot through the trees, and then something huffed and growled at me. And I'm pretty sure it was a Bigfoot. And that happens pretty often when we're out there having Bigfoot experiences. So I don't know. There's so much more that we don't know. We don't know, but we're learning. We're sharing our stories, and you've allowed me to remote view these targets for you, and I'm just honored to be able to do this, and for us to have these conversations.
I wanted more information because remember we're asleep, awake, and those parts that I cannot answer or know what happened. That's the reason, I wanted to get a hold of you to get a little more answers as to what happened in that time. And you filled up a lot of gaps that I wasn't aware of, or I was not thinking about till you opened up the door.
Well, I'm glad I can help. I can. And Sovereign Confident Wildman is talking about shapeshifters and stuff. And I wanted to ask you about your Kings River Dogman experience before we go tonight, because I know, listen, I'm hearing fireworks outside, so I know that my dog's about to start barking, so I can't stay much longer tonight. And I know everybody was wanting to do fireworks and stuff. Y'all be safe out there, by the way. Okay, no forest fires. You need fingers in the moon. Okay, but let's talk about your Dogman experience briefly.
Yeah. Me and Alan, he has a show called Squatch Zone, real good buddy of mine. We go out here and there when we got time. And so I had a feeling to go to the certain area, and it's alongside of the road. There's a hill or a small little mountain. The river's down below, but you walk across downhill on one side of it, cross over a fence, and there's a road behind some lemon groves. So you walk down, and then there's trails that go down to the river. And I was going by myself. Alan, his back was hurting, so I just went by myself. And I got a bad knee. But so I had a feeling to go down there. And I took this little trail, and it wasn't used very much, but you could tell something was walking on it. The tall grass was bent down. So something recently went through there, so I wanted to go check it out. So as I was walking, the trail went to the left because there's boysenberries on this side of the trail. And then it makes a quick right down to the river. Okay, where it makes a quick right, it's only about 7.5 feet away from the water. Okay, and it's down in an angle about that much. And so the trail goes like this, and right when I was going to turn around to the right, I seen the back end of something that was taller than me, but yet the ground level was about 2.5, 3 feet below me. But yet I was looking at his shoulder, the back end of the shoulder. And I looked at it for a second, like, what the? And it had white, black, and the white was inside the hair, like a down. Then it had black and then white at the tips here and there. It was a mixture. But I could see the down of the fur or hair. And I looked at it for a second, trying to figure out what it is. And then as soon as I'm looking at it, I see the whole shoulder turning, and I seen the snout of a dogman, and he's only like 7 feet away. I snuck up on him. He didn't hear me because of the water, those rapids in the water. So he didn't hear me. And as soon as he turned, he had a snout like a pit bull. It wasn't long like a German Shepherd, but it was stubby. And as soon as I seen that face and part of his eye right there, I turned around. I started running. I fell down twice because of my right knee. The first time I fell down was about 30 feet away from him. And I didn't turn around at that time, see if he was chasing me. The second time I fell down, I turned around, see if he was behind me. He wasn't. But I didn't get no smell. Maybe the wind wasn't blowing the right way or something. But I think the reason he didn't see me coming or because of the rapids of the water. It was loud. So I just happened to sneak up on him. But yeah, I was only about 7 feet away from him, and he was probably about it's probably about 7.5 feet tall, maybe 8, close to 8, because I was looking at the back of his shoulder, and he was still down 2.5, 3 feet below me. So he was a big sucker, and he was standing. It wasn't a Bigfoot. It was a Dogman. I mean, I could see his arm, his shoulder, and everything. But I did not see his ears. I don't know if it was covered up the way, but I didn't stand there long enough to look at it anyway. I was.
Blame you. I don't blame you. You know, I would have been amazed to see something that close up. To see, you know, I go out in the woods looking for Dogman. Okay. But that's amazing to be that close to one. And there's so many sightings. You know, Javier's been on my shows, and he's told me his stories about dogmen and what looked to be a lichen or some sort of werewolf that had ripped shorts. It actually had clothes on. Okay, so.
And it's not that far from the area where we're talking about. It's all within a couple of miles.
Really?
So there's a lot of strange stuff going on in that area. And it's well known also. Right across the river is Avocado Lake. And there's a lot of drownings in there. And actually, I forgot who it was, but they made a short movie of it, of a creature grabbing their legs and pulling people down. There's people drowning at that lake. I mean, there's signs everywhere.
Oh man!
Yeah, that's really strange.
That's strange. And while my family is at the lake right now, every time I jump in the lake, whenever I go swimming or in the boating, I don't like that feeling now because I've done too many shows about people getting grabbed from the bottom of the lake, dirt under the water. It's scary. It's a little scary, but man, fascinating nonetheless. And okay, Adolf, I have a question before we go tonight. Do you think that there's a portal there? Do you think there's just a high concentration? Like, where are these things coming from?
You're talking about
Dogman.
River. Oh, the Dogman area?
Yes, Dogman.
There's something. There's Bigfoot's being sighted in that area. They're taking oranges from the top of the tree. That farmers complain because if you're going to steal oranges, you're going to steal them from the bottom. But no, something's taking them from the top, and there's been reports of that. There's been sightings of Thunderbirds in that area also. That goes back to 1929. Yeah, a lot of strange things happen over there. And there's an old Native American camp in that area also. Actually, all those natives, there's the ones that they took to the coast to work in missions for the Spanish missions. So a lot of them, they're gone. They're not there no more.
Oh, wow. Well, trying to think if I have any more questions for you tonight. Trying to think. Okay, the pterodactyl. One more question. The or pterosaur or whatever people are seeing out there. Do you think that could be a Thunderbird?
I think it is because Native Americans, especially in that area, there's been reports in the past of them seeing Thunderbird. Back then, they didn't know what a pterodactyl was or anything like that. They just called them Thunderbirds because that's the easiest thing that they could explain because it was flying. They knew it was a bird, birds fly, they just didn't know what it was. So I think the Thunderbirds are actually pterodactyls. And actually, me and my friend seen one. Only about 50 yards where Javier seen his. There's a little country grocery store. And me and my friend, he came down from Hawaii. He's an engineer. And we got out of the vehicle, and this was about 7:30 in the morning. And as we got out, there was a shadow going over the vehicle. And we both looked up, and we could see it flying above us, and it was only like 25 feet above us. And it was about 25 feet across the wingspan. And I seen it flap his wings once. It got the current off the river and then went upstream. And I tried chasing it down with my vehicle. We lost it. And then once we got a good turnout area, I took a picture of the dam. I sent it to my friend. He ended up zooming in on it, and he seen the pterodactyl or the Thunderbird above the dam. I didn't notice it, but it's so far away, it's hard to tell. But if you use the dam as a guide and the trees, I'm pretty sure that's what we caught, but I'm not 100%. It's just too big to be a blackbird. It's just way too big. But yeah, it had no feathers. It had bat leather skin. No noise. It was huge.
Wow. Wow. Well, we're getting so many reports of pterosaurs and pterodactyls all over North America and Central America and South America right now. So I always had a sneaking suspicion that's what Thunderbirds were. So that's cool to get your opinion on that. I appreciate that. Well, do you have any final thoughts tonight on what we talked about? And I also want everybody to go please check out this documentary, you guys. Here's the name of it right here. And let me see if I can get my banner. Sorry, my computer's slow. 10/11/02. You guys find that on YouTube. Adolf, what are your final thoughts on your weekend up there? What happened and the remote viewing data?
The remote viewing it opened up my eyes because I wanted to know what else happened. That was the main thing. You opened up the doors to a lot of things I didn't realize. So I started seeing your drawings and your wording. It makes sense big time. Uh, Ever since the Courtright thing, I don't go up the mountains by myself. I don't drive at night. Telephone pole lights scare me. So I have to be home before it gets dark, no matter where I'm at, or I have to be inside a hotel room. I don't go out at night. I have to be home where it's safe. I no longer go fishing by myself. Matter of fact, I haven't gone in a while, and that's one of my favorite things. Uh, I don't go hiking by myself. I don't do anything by myself anymore. I got good friends that I go with, Javier, Alan, and but it changed my life big time. Um, yeah, it just changed my whole life. I used to be a really, really outdoor person. Turn of a switch, I want to go somewhere, I'll go. I'll be there. Uh, and even at then I used to time myself exactly how long it takes to get there because I want to know if I'm missing time or not. So just be careful when you go out and look at your watch. You may not know your missing time.
That's right. The first time I knew that I had missing time, the guy that I was with out in the field, his clocks had gone forward an hour and mine had gone backwards an hour, and so we knew that there was something wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
And, but we would have never noticed otherwise if our digital equipment hadn't changed time, because you just don't know. It happens in the blink of an eye, and you wouldn't know unless you were really being observant and taking account of what time it is.
Exactly. Even coming back from Virginia City, I was always timing myself. I'll Google everything from this town to this town. How long should it take? And I was doing the same thing as I was going. So, but thank you for having me on the show. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for taking the time to come on the show today on your 8-year anniversary. Congratulations. And I'm sending you and your wife so much love, and your daughter as well. And yeah, I just thank you for being here. I've been wanting to get you on the show for a long time, Adolf. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, Javier, he told me. I just had to find the right time.
Okay, well, it's a perfect time, and it's a night where everybody's shooting off fireworks tonight. I can hear them outside right now. So I want to thank everybody for being here, you guys. Thank y'all so much for spending your 4th of July with Adolf and I here on the channel. And please go, Cryptid, thank you for putting that link in there. So Cryptid put the link to the documentary in the chat, and it's in the description box below the video. It's called 10/11/02. Please watch it. Okay, and
look at the outtakes. That will explain a lot also on the outtakes of the movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's another video where you can watch the outtakes too. I saw that one. I didn't watch it yet, but I need to go back and watch it. Yeah.
And maybe next week, do Hensley Lake.
Okay. Oh, Hensley Lake. Okay. Well, listen, Adolf, if you have any more missing time, you send me the time and the coordinates, and I'll remote view it for you. Okay. Cool. If anything happens, I got you. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, everybody, you'll have a wonderful night. If you wanted to see the data, you can join my Patreon, and it's in that Patreon. Okay. And otherwise, y'all come back and see me Saturday night. I'll be here on the hunt. I don't even know who my guest is. I don't know if Harley Owens is going to be on, or that's next week, but it'll be a good show. So y'all come back and see me on Saturday. You guys have a very safe Independence Day, 4th of July. Keep your fingers, y'all. Be careful with the fireworks. Okay. All right. Adolf, happy anniversary. I'll see you soon. Okay. Please come back and see me again. All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right, everybody. Y'all have a wonderful night, and I will see y'all Saturday. Thanks for being here. Bye, y'all.